Hi everyone, this is my run on Act 3 Chapter 7.2 Final Stage featuring the Sephiroth fight. I use a party of Freya, Kain and Shadow because this party can have 100% evasion, and Shadow is also a little bit of a turn hogger when he evades attacks as well. This party does extremely well and it's a fairly straightforward fight here because all of Sephiroth's attacks, except for the orb attack, is actually evadable. So if you have 100% evade, nothing in the fight can actually touch you at all. So quickly about what I did at the start, I actually reset until Shadow goes first, and I gave Shadow a Sazh call. This is actually quite important because I used the Sazh call to buff both Freya and Kain with the 100% crit rate, and this allows them to actually maintain the Rufenia orb for the entire fight. On Freya's first turn, I used her additional ability twice to charge up her overhead, and then the General Leo LD call to get the Cold Aura, and then I actually swapped her out for Laguna and used his BT+. I used a friend Laguna here just so that I can get some extra cheap damage from Desperado at the early parts of the fight before the Desperado buff wears off. Lastly, on Kain's turn, I gave him the Cait LD call, and then I had him jump into the air, so this way everyone also benefits from the Cait LD call aura. If you don't have Cait LD call, it's not a big deal because the Sazh call already gives everyone 100% crit rate anyway, so you can just make do with another call. Something like Iroha LD call should also work fairly well. So coming back to Shadow's turn here, the goal here is to actually bring Sephiroth to 79% before he takes his first turn. The key reason behind that is that Desperado only lasts for 4 turns, and at 79% Sephiroth will get 3 turns in a row. So if you can bring him to that threshold before his first turn, you still get Desperado sticking around even after 79%, which helps to contribute to your overall damage. I ended Shadow's turn here because I felt fairly confident that I could cause one more break delay before Sephiroth gets his first turn, and that will allow Shadow to act one more time anyway. Now importantly, I used a 3-turn Laguna friend because I really only use Laguna to inflict Desperado, and then after that I actually have him use additional ability so that I can kick him out and bring Freya back in. Bringing Freya back early is optimal because Freya will have the General Leo LD call that benefits the party, and I can also leap her into the air before Sephiroth gets his first turn. Alright, so here Sephiroth is about to get his turn, so to prevent that I used another of Shadow's LD, and here I'm sort of burning his HP down to 79% as quickly as possible. Before 79%, you also want to use Shadow's additional ability once so that you can guarantee a dodge at the 79% HP threshold. While I'm transitioning to 79% phase, just a quick note that I'll also be including more description about the party setup in the video description, so do check it out for more information as well. So I've just passed 79% HP threshold. Sephiroth took 3 turns but all of it missed, and it also gave Shadow 3 turns in a row, 2 of which are free. From this point onwards, the key is to try to bring Sephiroth to 49% as quickly as possible so that you can trigger the next turn warp. You actually want him to turn warp because each time he turn warps, he triggers a counter attack from Shadow, and he also gives Shadow 2 free turns. I used another of Shadow's LD here because I want to try to maximize the damage from Desperado. The next turn Sephiroth takes will burn out the Desperado debuff, so I feel using his LD here is optimal. The key at this point is that you must save Shadow's last LD for the later parts in the fight, because at a certain point his LD buff will wear out and you will need to have one more LD used to reapply his buff. So same thing here, I used his additional ability to first of all trigger one more turn of off-turn damage, but also to guarantee that Shadow will evade the next attack. Throughout Shadow's rotation, what you also want to do is to use EX whenever it's up because it's his most damaging skill post C90, but you'll also need to keep an eye on his S1 buff, which is the Fade to Black. That buff has evasion tied to it, so you must reapply that buff before Safer Sephiroth gets its next turn. I decide to pop summon here mainly actually just to keep the turn count low, because Freya's next turn will start increasing the turn count again. Ideally, I think if you are not too fast about the turn count, you can save summon when you're close to 19% just to get that extra buffer room in to allow both Freya and Kain to leap into the air again. On Freya and Kain's turn, you want to immediately use their LD and leap them into the air, because if you waste any of their turns, you will burn out the Cait Sith and General Leo LD Call Aura respectively. I use Sazh LD call here really only actually to bring the boss down to 29% because Shadow's LD buff is only at 1 count and I want to save his LD for a little bit later. So using the call here is I think very good timing because then it will trigger Sephiroth's next turn warp and allow Shadow to evade the attacks while his LD buff is still up at 1 turn remaining. I did take a little bit of damage here because I didn't have his additional ability up, but doesn't really matter because Freya will eventually heal Shadow to full HP anyway. So here I'm just sort of continuing the rotation with Shadow. This is why it's important to keep his last LD use. At this point, his LD buff ran out, so I used his last LD here to reapply his LD buff. Right before Sephiroth hits 19%, it is very important to use Shadow's additional ability to guarantee an evasion, because otherwise Heartless Angel Plus has a chance to hit Shadow and bring his HP down to 1%, which will make it a little bit more difficult to heal him. So this is the last leg of the race. After 19% there are no more threshold attacks from Sephiroth. So here I'm just trying to burn down his last 10% or so HP, also capitalizing on the Sephiroth triggering Shadow's counters and free turns to get a little bit more damage in before Kain and Freya lands again. So that's it for this fight. Hope the fight has been helpful, and if you enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment or subscribe. Helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Lufania fight. Bye!